What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Inside Wilder versus Fury Part 1 PBC on Fox recap. I am relieved, I am glad that they have decided to have one of these because I wasn't sure if they were going to do so. Of course, we've been spoiled over the years when we've had Face Off and All Access, 24/7 on HBO, then All Access on Showtime, and we were able to see more in depth of the lives of the fighter, okay? Because fighters' lives matter too, okay? We go to see these guys entertain us, but their lives are also important. And these two champions, these two undefeated fighters, are no exception. Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. This was pretty detailed. This is part 1, and I just want to recap it with you guys. First of all, we have Deontay Wilder. He's in the gym. He's, what I could see, he was in preparation. He was working a lot of the jab, which is good. You know, one thing that Wilder did do was jab with someone that also jabbed, which was Fury. And that same jab that Deontay was using, people don't understand or realize that that same jab drew first blood on Tyson Fury. You know, he had a busted nose by the 4th round, and it came from a stiff jab. It almost looked like a stiff arm that like a running back would have, you know, a defensive line trying to get down the field. Nonetheless, boom, it made his nose instantly bleed. So I see Wilder working that jab, you know, and of course that jab is that first punch, is that basic fundamental assistant to that right hand that Deontay Wilder has. And we've seen a lot of that. Wilder, of course, criticized Fury's competition. Now, here's the strange thing. He said, Fury, you know, between me, I'd had knockouts back to back, and I got him out of there in rounds 1 and round 7. Tyson Fury fought guys, you know, not so exciting. You know, he said that, you know, Fury then, his second fight, went 12 rounds, got all cut, you know, and it had a gruesome fight. But he obviously had the harder competition. Now, the funny thing about that, I do agree with him. But if you really think about it, shouldn't that be the other way around? Because Tyson Fury really had the harder road with the fights at hand, especially with the Otto Wallin fight, you know. So he was saying he had competition. Of course, you guys, we already counterpunched that because none of these guys have fought each other. The guys that they beat haven't fought each other, and they haven't fought the guys that each other fought. So, you know, we've already counterpunched that. Anyway, moving on. Fury, on the other hand, Fury was in training. Fury, of course, we knew that he changed trainers. He changed everyone except one person, and I'll get to him a little later. The strangest thing about Tyson Fury with his predictions, the things that he swears that he's going to do or vows to do by round 2 is take out Deontay Wilder. Now, something I seen that he did not allow any filming during inside the ring while training. Inside the ring, he did not allow any filming whatsoever. You didn't see what he was going to do, because I remember the first fight, you know, he was jabbing, then parrying, you know, jabbing, then parrying, you know what I mean? He wasn't doing it. You couldn't see anything that he was doing, okay? And of course, we know Javon Sugar Hill is that assistant, that relative to the great Emmanuel Stewart, okay? And he's that apprentice. And he is looking to definitely work in his favor to make sure he's trying to knock out Deontay Wilder. You know, and I think, honestly, that's a smart move by Tyson Fury. Why? Tyson Fury has talked a gang of shit, talking about knockouts, talking about going straight at Wilder, talking about, you know, the only way to ensure a knockout, and that's funny, Javon Sugar Hill said the only way to ensure a knockout is, you know, the sure a victory is a knockout. So he was the one that said that. So maybe he was the reason for this particular drive for a knockout, because, you know, of course he was saying it himself, and Tyson Fury really didn't start saying that until he went with Javon Sugar Hill. So that might be a reason that he started, you know, he started this crusade for a KO. You know what I mean? But the strange thing is, back to, you know, the denial of seeing him train at all. This shows me one thing. They're very secretive, and it's very good. This is another pantomime. You're telling people everything, but you're showing no one nothing. I guess he will show on the day, which makes it more intriguing of what he's going to do, because he doesn't want anybody to use anything, any type of footage, any type of leverage with him whatsoever. And that tells you, if he was saying, and he's already said what he'll do, come in and jab his face off, he'll be begging for the right hand. Remember that, guys? So you're safe to say maybe you don't want people to that's his decline. You want to tell people what you're going to do, but you don't want to show them what you're going to do, but you've already told them and predict what you're going to do in the ring. That leads me to believe that maybe he won't do any of that. Okay, so he's leaving everything up to chance. You know what I mean? And so it does make it intriguing, but it's smart too. You know, because it's one thing to say what you're going to do, but it's another thing to actually do it. You know what I mean? I think it's a curveball. I think he's trying to let Deontay Wilder think that he's going to come at him. Oh, you got to back him up. You got to back up Deontay. A puncher like Deontay. He might not do anything. He might do it. Who knows? But it is a weird thing to see him deny what he's going to do, but he's already told his entire game plan. He's already said how to beat him, where to beat him. Something like Ali did. You know, Ali already said what he was going to do to George Foreman before he did it to George Foreman. If you guys can remember that, to take a quick trip down memory lane, Ali said after Foreman destroyed Frazier, okay? He was already on the side of the corner outside the ring saying, all you need to do, I'm not a hard puncher, I'm not known to be a hard puncher, but I can beat this guy with speed. A lot of these guys had a lot bigger punch than me, but you got to stick them and move, tie him up, get him tired, box him, you know? Speed will do the trick, and I will tire George Foreman. That's what Ali said, but guess what? Tyson Fury's saying something similar, but he's not allowing anyone to see anything for any reason. You know, so that leads me to believe, because Ali, because when he was in Africa, everyone filmed him. You know, he had a large African horde around him of people that were like, yo, Ali Boombaye, right? So Tyson Fury, he's secretive on that end. So that leads me to believe maybe he won't do what he says he's going to do. Maybe he'll do the same old thing and then throw everybody for a curveball. Because it's just weird that he's not letting anyone see that. But hey, you know, that's all game. That's all the mental games of Tyson Fury. When it came to the real, from what they're really going to do, they ain't going to let you know. Okay. Meanwhile, back to Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder says, hey, you know, this fight couldn't have been at an easier time. Black History Month. And he says he's going to make Tyson Fury a Black History question. No, a Black History trivia question. Let me get that right. You know, I thought that was funny. You know, so he's vowed to make a statement on the heritage of Black History Month to make a KO. Okay, so that was pretty impressive that he said. I don't want to leave that out. Back over the Fury. Fury was promoting the fight at a college football game like Bob Arum. You gotta go there and you gotta promote the fucking thing. We're not paying money to see the same shit. So he was promoting the fight. And of course, Tyson Fury's a showman, so he did a good job then. Meanwhile, Deontay Wilder was over there in Rome. He met the Pope, first of all, He went to the museum, okay, and he seen the bronze boxer, and he was the bronze bomber, right? And he seen how detailed that statue was, you know, and he screamed at it and did that, you know what I mean, that emotional, charged shit, looked it face in the face, you know, some ironic things, some cool stuff for, you know, some camera shots. He's in Rome, you know what I mean? It is what it is. And it looks like to me, Deontay Wilder was proud to be there. From what the things that he said that, you know, it comes a long way from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. You know what I mean? Anybody from a small town that has, you know, went through the things that he's went through to be where he is, it's a blessing and a graving. Okay. So I could tell that he appreciates where he is, or where, you know, where he was at that time, you know, to go from Tuscaloosa to Rome, you know, because, you know, I mean, first of all, he met the president to sign Jack Johnson's pardon with Stallone and Lennox Lewis. Now he's meeting the Pope. So, you know, it's a good move, you know, from a promotional standpoint. Also a moral standpoint, you know, because that's one of the things you would remember, you know, when everything's said and done, when you retire from the sport of boxing, you would remember, hey, you know, you could tell your kids when you're old and gray, hey, I met the Pope. You know. And, you know, of course, his girl was trying to teach him Spanish and stuff like that, and he was like, I'll let you do that. So that was funny, you know. He was just like, hey, Pope Francis, you know, Francis, how you doing, you know. So that was cool. Now, the thing that tripped me out about this particular encounter was Mauricio Sulaiman. This guy said in Spanish that Deontay Wilder is ambassador of boxing, and he's fighting for peace. Get out of here with that shit, man. You know, he's a prize fighter. The guy wants a body in the ring. You know what I mean? So stop lying to the Pope. You know, they wanted, you know, don't lie to the Pope. Just say this is the heavyweight champion of the world. You know what I mean? Don't do that. You know, that just shows you, man, BS creates more BS. You know what I mean? He also went to the Coliseum, and he was like, you know, you can tell people went here and they fought to the death. They came to see somebody die. You know, and he said, you feel the tingling up under my feet. You know, and that really let me know, like, okay, I think he really does want a body in the ring. His feet start tingling. He's talking about come fight to the death. People come to see you die. Related, right? I want to have a body in the ring. You know? So, yeah, I think he was getting a hard on for that one, honestly. You know what I mean? So he might have some real desire to, like Breeder Cat, real desire to to definitely kill somebody, you know? But you don't know what you do until you do it. They do not know what they do. You know? But Tyson Fury, back to Tyson Fury. He was training. He went to a strength and conditioning coach. Back to his team. The only person that was left was a fighter by the name of Christian Blacklock. Okay, and he is the only guy that was left still on that team of Tyson Fury. And, you know, he was doing drills with Tyson Fury, getting him ready. So that's one guy that did not be, you know, replaced. And it's funny because, you know, he replaced everybody else. The cut man, the head trainer, you know, he did his thing, you know. Also, Tyson Fury enlightened us on his remedy for his mental illness, you know, and how he exercises. And he explained how training is a key factor of a happier life. He trains, it releases endorphins, and it makes him a happier person, you know. And that's something that I've implemented into my life. So you can learn as a sponge. We learn from positive things that people do, you know, and you do really feel gratifying and good after you have a good workout. Because I had a great workout today, so I want to add that in there that Tyson Fury mentioned. You know, also Tyson Fury, you know, left his kids at home, you know, of course, to focus on Wilder. Now, the press conference. I was so relieved also that this particular press conference, we could actually see them talking face to face, because remember at the actual press conferences, we could not see what they were saying face to face, like they wouldn't mic'd up. They were saving this material for this particular show. And Wilder was telling Fury, like, you know I won. You know I knocked you out. Fury was like, you know you lost. I'm going to knock you out. And he's like, how you going to knock me out? You got pillows for fists. You ever heard of a baptism? I'm going to baptize you. You look nervous. And Tyson Fury was kind of like, I'm not nervous. I'm shaking. I don't know if he was really acting like he was nervous, but he kind of looked nervous, honestly. You know what I mean? He kind of looked nervous, to tell you the truth. And Tyson also left in with, hey, I want to punch him in the face until he falls over. Deontay Wilder, with, hey, don't blink. It was a pretty informative part one episode. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It wasn't too long. Everything meant something. Everywhere from Deontay training, Deontay going to Rome, and, meeting Tyson Fury face to face the first time for, in a year or over a year. Tyson Fury with his training, with his refusal to keep everything in-house and no filming on his training per se. His mental illness battles and remedies. His trainer, his strength and conditioning trainer. So really this was more about Deontay Wilder, honestly, because they covered more footage and the things that he did versus what Tyson Fury did. Probably because, they put that Rome story in there and his trip to Rome, which was a very memorable time for Deontay Wilder. But anyway, this was a real good part one. I'm glad they are covering it on PBC. I just hope they do it on the ESPN side. Okay, even though the ESPN they had a press conference there or whatnot, I hope they do a special ESPN coverage on Tyson Fury so he can get more. And I believe the reason they have more coverage on Deontay Wilder because he is, the PBC fighter, and this is a PBC show. So counterpunching that. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about this recap. Did you think the actual show was informative? Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunched. Peace.